Hi, I'm Alan, and this is my channel. Alan talks about stuff.
So I've been a fan of the Kansas City Royals all my life. I was 13 in 1985. My parents had just bought a satellite dish. This was one of those old school satellite dishes that took up a huge chunk of your backyard. So in 1985 season, we found and watched almost every single game on TV. It was the very first time we ever got to consistently watch the Kansas City Royals. On September 8th, my dad, uncle, myself, and two of my friends went to a Royals game versus the Milwaukee Brewers. The night before, the Royals won, and they took over first place in the AL West for the first time all year. I distinctly remember when they announced the team to run out on the field, the PA announcer said, "Here's your AL West leading Kansas City Royals." The Royals won in extra innings that day when Steve Bye-Bye Balboni hit a home run in the bottom of the 11th inning. The Royals never gave up the lead in the AL West the rest of the season. They went on to the playoffs to play the Toronto Blue Jays, the AL East champion, in the best of 7 to go to the World Series. The Royals got down 3-1 versus the Blue Jays, but were able to come back and win 3 in a row to go to the World Series. Luckily for the Royals, this was the first year the American League and National League decided their championship in the best of 7 game series. Prior to this, the series were settled in the best of 5 games. Off to the World Series. Kansas City lost the first 2 games at home. Nobody had ever won the World Series after losing the first 2 games at home. So the series went to St. Louis. Kansas City won Game 3, but lost Game 4, putting them at a 3-1 disadvantage again. Royals win Game 5, getting the series back to Kansas City. My parents were offered 3 tickets to Game 6 and 3 tickets to Game 7 from a friend of theirs. Since my parents got to go to Game 2, they decided to spread the love. My grandparents and aunt would get tickets to one of the games, then my uncle, aunt, and myself would go to another game. I was given the choice of which game I wanted to go to. If I chose Game 6, I'd be guaranteed to go to a World Series game. On the other hand, I could risk it all, choose Game 7, and maybe get a chance at seeing my favorite team win the World Series. I remember my mom telling me, if you choose Game 6, if they win, you'll regret not choosing Game 7. If they lose, it really won't be that fun to be at the game they lost. So I chose to go to Game 7. Game 6, Kansas City was down 1-0 going into the bottom of the 9th. The inning starts off with Don Dinkinger blowing a call at first base, allowing George Orta on base. Then Jack Clark misplays a foul ball, giving Steve Balboni his second chance, which then he comes through with a base hit between the third baseman and shortstop. With 2 strikes, Jim Sundberg tries to bunt the runners to second and third, but Todd Worrell, the pitcher, makes a great play, getting the lead runner out at third. That brought up Hal McRae. With the count 1-0, Todd Worrell and catcher Darrell Porter get their signals crossed up for a passed ball, advancing the runners to second and third base. Then St. Louis intentionally walks McRae, loading the bases. Then the Royals bring up pinch hitter for Dan Quisenberry, Dane Orge. Dane Orge hits a bloop single to right field. Andy Van Slyke's throw home was not in time. Royals win Game 6 2-1, giving me the opportunity to go see the Kansas City Royals play in Game 7 of the World Series. I remember the game was played on a Sunday. I'm waiting around the house for my aunt and uncle to show up and go to the game. The phone rings and it's my parents' friends. They tell me they got 2 more tickets to the game, right next to the other 3. Do we want these other 2 tickets? Yes, we want those other 2 tickets. So now it's my mom, dad, uncle and aunt, and myself heading to Game 7 of the World Series. We live about 3 hours from Kansas City. We stop and meet up with my grandparents and aunt who got to go to Game 6. Of course, we're all excited about the game the night before and the game later that night. So after meeting up with my grandparents, we head on down the road to Kansas City. We meet my parents' friends at a mall in Kansas City to pick up the other 2 tickets. There's this buzz and excitement you can feel around the city. People on street corners holding up signs saying "Go Royals," "Honk for the Royals," and everybody in town's honking their horns. We get to the stadium, just so much excitement in anticipation of the game. We finally headed into the stadium, patiently waiting for the game to start. Once the game got started, it really didn't take long. Darryl Motley hits a 2-run home run in the second. Then the Royals got 3 runs in the third to go up 5-0. The 5th inning was when it got really exciting, and we got to watch the Cardinals completely implode. Royals got 6 runs to go up 11-0. Joaquin Andujar temper got the best of him in the 5th. With Don Dinkinger, the umpire that blew the call at first base the night before, was now behind home plate. Andujar goes after Dinkinger. Herzog, the manager, comes out, takes over the argument for Andujar and gets kicked out of the game. Then on the very next pitch, Andujar gets kicked out of the game himself. Up 11-0, it was kind of like a party in the stands. Really no worries. The Royals were going to win this game. I remember counting down the outs. We've got 12 outs to go. We've got 7 outs to go. 3 outs to go. I also remember in the car after the game thinking the Royals are World Series champs. The Royals are the best team in all of baseball.
Once again, this is Alan. This is my channel, Alan Talks About Stuff. Thanks for watching.